Good afternoon, everyone. Since chapters 1 to 8 have already been discussed by the assigned groups, let's turn our attention to the last topic, which is the chapter 9, Unpacking Curriculum Standards and Competencies. Chapter 9 is all about unpacking curriculum standards and competencies. We will learn how to break down broad curriculum standards and competencies into smaller learning objectives. These are essential in the selection of curriculum content, learning activities, and assessment tools, and important in creating lesson plan. So, next, what are the objectives of this lesson? At the end of the lesson, the learner will be able to discuss the process for unpacking curriculum standards. So we are going to know and understand the process for unpacking curriculum standards. The second objectives, experience unpacking curriculum competencies to identify appropriate instructional strategies and assessment tools. So we will experience unpacking curriculum competencies to identify the appropriate um, instructional strategies and assessment tools for us to be able to uh, a guide in creating lesson plan of our specific topic. And next, first, let's define what is unpacking. So, unpacking curriculum standards and competencies are essential in the selection of curriculum content, learning activities, and assessment tools. Just like unpacking the boxes in the image, we can use curriculum standards and competencies to identify the best and most appropriate content and learning activities. And also, when we say unpacking, it is the process of breaking down and clearly defining the specific knowledge, skills, and values that students should acquire. It helps the educators to identify the detailed components of learning objectives, ensuring that they are all well defined and aligned with the standards. It is also a pedagogical strategy that teachers commonly employ to better understand, successfully implement educational requirements into their curricula. It is the process of deconstructing students' learning outcomes. So why we unpack? To serve as our guide in lesson planning, to make the learning targets easier to achieve for students. In the implementation of the K-12 education program, unpacking curriculum is useful for teachers, especially when they design their instructional plans and when they design assessment tools. So it is very important and useful for teachers to make a good outcome in designing their needed lesson plans. And teachers can gain deeper understanding of what they need to teach and how they can best assess student learning, such as improved instructional design. They can create more targeted and effective instruction. Another one is more effective assessment that measures student learning of those objectives and also increase collaboration. Teachers can work together to uh, unpack the curriculum and develop shared instructional plans and assessment. This can help to ensure that all students are learning the same material and that there is consistency in instruction across classroom. Next is the definition of curriculum standards and competencies. So first, Curriculum standards are broad statements of what students need to know and do as a result of learning. So, students serve as a guidelines for educators, students involved in personalized learning to design curriculum and assessment that represents what students need to know and able to do, as well as develop um, instructional practices that support the desired learning and application in authentic contexts. And the standards can be used as a reference point for planning, teaching, and learning programs and for assessing student progress. It also should be clear, observable, measurable, and well articulated. Next is curriculum competencies. These are specific knowledge, skills, and values that students need to master. So, ito yung mga skills, knowledge, and understanding and also attitude ng mga learners na dapat ma-demonstrate sa kanilang lesson o learning activity. The K-12 curriculum, standards are classified as first, content standards or sa Tagalog, ito yung pamantayang pang nilalaman. Pangalawa, performance standards o pamantayan sa pagganap. In the K-12 curriculum also includes the learning competencies o ito yung tinatawag ding pamantayan sa pagkatuto. The Department of Education uses learning standards to guide what students should learn and how they should demonstrate their knowledge and skills. So, in its Memorandum Order Number 8 Series of 2015, defined curriculum standards and competencies as first, the content standards. The identity and set the essential knowledge and understanding that should be learned by the students. So, this define the important knowledge and understanding students should acquire in a specific subject or grade level. They act as a roadmap of what the students know by the end of a learning period, which identity the what the student should know and understand. The next one is the performance standards. It describes the abilities and skills that the learners are expected to demonstrate in relation to the content standards and integration of 21st century skills. This also describes the skills students should be able to learn or to perform to show their understanding of the content standards. They focus on how students will use their knowledge in practical ways, which describes the skills students should be able to demonstrate. Or, ito yung naia-apply na ng mga students ang kanilang natutunan sa content standards. And number 3 is learning competencies. This refers to the knowledge, skills, and understanding that learners need to demonstrate in every lesson or activity. So this is the breakdown of the content and the performance standards into smaller, more manageable units. These are the smallest building blocks that break down the content and the performance standards into specific achievable learning goals. They provide clear expectations for what students should be able to do at a particular point in the learning journey. Here are the examples of content standards, performance standards, and learning competencies in the K-12 curriculum. So as we can see, meron ditong subdomain na dapat matalakay yung life science, body, and the senses. At meron ditong standards, which is the content. So, pagkatapos ng aralin, the child demonstrate an understanding of body parts and their uses. In the performance, pagkatapos ng aralin, the child shall be able take care of oneself and the environment, able to solve problems encountered with the content of everyday living. And learning competencies or di pamantayang pagkatuto. Number 1, ang mag-aaral ay inaasahang identify one's basic body parts. Number 2, tell the function of each basic body part. Number 3, demonstrate movements using different body parts. And number 4, name the 5 senses and their corresponding body parts. And lastly, use the senses to observe the environment. So, isa ito sa halimbawa ng content standards at mayroong performance standards and learning competencies. At meron din ditong code and learning materials. Another one example of curriculum guide in grade 3 science. The content or the nilalaman. And we have also the content standard or the pamantayang pangnilalaman. And the performance standards or the pamantayan sa pagganap. And learning competencies or pamantayan sa pagkatuto. So, sa content, ito yung mga dapat malaman ng mga mag-aaral at 21st century literature from the region where the school is based in relation to the culture of other regions in the various genres and forms in consideration of various dimensions of Philippine. So, sa content standard, ito yung the learner will be able to understand and appreciate the elements and context of 21st century Philippine literature from the regions. So, the students will demonstrate understanding about the context of 21st century Philippine literature. And the second one is the performance standards. The learner will be able to demonstrate understanding and appreciation of 21st century Philippine literature from the regions through a written close analysis and critical interpretation of a literary text in terms of form and theme with description of its context. And the second is an adaptation of a text into other creative forms using multimedia. So sa performance standards is the students will perform about the interpretation of literary text in terms of form and theme with the context of the 21st century Philippine literature. Sa learning competencies naman, writing a close analysis and critical interpretation of literary texts and doing an adaptation of this required from the learner are our ability to 1. Identify the geographic, linguistic, and ethnic dimension of the Philippines. So, yan naman yung kailangan ma-achieve ng mga students. And kailangan ma-ensure na ito yung specific goals na dapat ma-achieve sa klase, learning competencies. Ito yung dapat ma-identify ng mga students, yung geographic, and makakapag-identify sila ng mga representative texts and authors of the history, research with a focus on the key responsibilities from the students or region. So, for the next further lesson discussion of this topic, and for the steps for unpacking curriculum standards and competencies will discussed by my group mates.
So now let's move on for the unpacking curriculum standards and competencies. Unpacking curriculum standards and competencies include several processes. So what are those processes? Number one, classify standards as knowledge, skills, and values. Knowledge, if the learning competency calls for remembering and basic comprehension of a concept or a skill. Skill: if the learning competency calls for the learner to demonstrate or apply a skill or desired behavior. Values: if the learning competency calls for valuing and appreciation. In knowledge standards, these standards involve understanding and remembering facts, concepts, or information. They usually focus on acquiring the knowledge about the subject matter. So, ang example dito is remembering historical dates or events. Another example, understanding scientific principle. And lastly is identify key literacy themes in a literacy novel. So number 2 is the skills. Here, it requires learners to demonstrate or apply specific abilities or behaviors. So in these standards, it emphasizes the practical application of knowledge. So example dito is writing persuasive essay, solving mathematical equations, or conducting scientific experiment. Number 3 is the values. It focuses on instilling attitude, beliefs, and ethical principles in learners. They aim to cultivate appreciation, empathy, and respect for others in the environment. So example here is demonstrating respect for diversity and cultural differences. Number 2, displaying honesty and integrity in academic work. Number 3, showing empathy towards others' perspectives. So by categorizing these three standards, the knowledge, skills, and values, educators can design a curriculum and assessment that address the diverse needs of learners and promote holistic development. Number 2, identify the prerequisite knowledge, skills, and values for each learning competency. Example, describe changes in materials based on the effect of temperature, solid to liquid, liquid to solid, liquid to gas, or solid to gas. So if we will state or we will stick into this example, we will start with the prerequisite knowledge. It will talk about your understanding of the concept of states of the matter. Number 2 is familiarity with the molecular structure and behavior of different state of matter. Last is the knowledge of basic scientific principles related to temperature and its effect on the matter. So it's this focus more on knowledge, or what did you understand about the concept. Number 2 is the prerequisite skills. Observation skills to identify changes in material states. Number 2, measurement skills to quantify temperature changes. Ability to record and analyze data from experiments or observations. Lastly is critical thinking skills to interpret the results and draw conclusions. Now you will use your knowledge or apply it to real world situations using your skills. Last is the prerequisite values, which is curiosity and interest in exploring scientific phenomena, open-mindedness to accept new ideas and revise understanding based on evidence, respect for safety protocols when conducting experiments involving temperature changes. Lastly, appreciation for the relevance of scientific knowledge in everyday life. So, by ensuring that students possess the necessary knowledge, skills, and values, educators can scaffold their learning effectively and facilitate deeper understanding of the concept of changes in materials due to temperature effects. Number 3, look for the desired skills or behavior in every competency. Identify the most suitable activity for each desirable behavior. Example, create crafts that can be locally assembled with local materials guided by local traditional techniques, hobby, lip, or etc. The desired behavior skill in this learning competency is for students to create crafts assembled with local materials guided by traditional techniques. So here it implies that in each competency there are specific skills or behaviors or behaviors that educators aim to develop in students. In the given example, the desired behavior or skill is for student to create crafts using local materials and traditional techniques. So here's how this aligns with the activity. Example activity is creating crafts that can be locally assembled with local materials guided by traditional techniques. So in this activity, it promotes several desirable behavior. Number one is cultural appreciation. By using local materials and traditional techniques, students learn to appreciate and preserve their cultural heritage. Number two, creativity and innovation. Crafting with local materials encourages students to think creatively and find innovative ways to utilize resources available in their environment. Another one, problem solving. Working with natural materials often present challenges that require problem solving skills. Students must adapt their techniques to the characteristic of materials, fostering the resilience and resourcefulness. Another competency is hand-eye coordination and fine motor skills. Engaging in crafting activities involves precise movements and manipulation of materials, enhancing students' hand-eye coordination and fine motor skills. Lastly is environmental awareness. Using local materials promotes environmental sustainability by reducing the carbon footprint associated with transportation and supporting local economies. So overall, this uh, this activity not only allows students to express their creativity but also promotes cultural appreciation, problem solving, environmental aware- awareness through hands-on learning experience. Last step is classify learning competencies to determine appropriate assessment tools. This process is based on the works of Glasshorn 1998. Firstly, standard with conventional testing, standards with performance tasks, and lastly, standards for continuing development or SCD. So here it says that Glassor's classification system helps educators determine appropriate assessment tools based on the nature of the learning competencies. So here's an explanation for each category. Standard with conventional testing or SCT. This category includes competencies that can be effectively assessed using traditional forms of tests such as multiple choice tests, short answer questions, essays, or quizzes. These assessments typically measure students' knowledge and understanding of factual information, concept, and theories. For example, competencies related to recalling historical events, understanding mathematical principles, or identifying literary devices might fall under this category. Second one is the Standards with Performance Task or SPT. Learning competencies in this category requires students to demonstrate their skills and abilities through a real-world task or performance-based assessment. These assessments focus on application, problem solving, creativity, and critical thinking. Examples include presenting a scientific experiment or designing a project, conducting a research study, or performing a musical piece. Performance tasks allow students to showcase their proficiency in applying what they have learned to authentic situation. Lastly is the Standards for Continuing Development or SCD. In this category, it encompasses learning competencies that emphasize ongoing growth and development rather than mastery at a single point in time. Assessment for this competency often involve um, formative assessment, formative assessment strategies such as self-assessment, peer assessment, portfolios, or reflective journals. These tools provide feedback to students and educators about progress over time and areas for improvement. Competencies related to communication skills, collaboration, creativity, and self awareness might be assessed using SCD methods. By classifying learning competencies into these categories, educators can select appropriate assessment tools and strategies that align with the intended outcomes and promote meaningful learning experiences for
Steps for unpacking curriculum standards and competencies. Classify learning competencies to determine appropriate assessment tools. This process is based on the works of Blackburn, 1998. Standard with conventional testing, or SCT. Conventional, more traditional assessment tools evaluate what skills students can perform with success. They are generally knowledgeable based versus hands-on performance based. They include traditional types of tests like multiple choice, short answer, essays, and constructed responses, and standardized tests such as those districts administered to all students. Next is standards with performance task, or SPT. A performance task is any learning activity or assessment that tasks students to perform to demonstrate their knowledge, understanding, and proficiency. And the last one is Standards for Continuing Development, or SCD. The SCD Standard Self-Assessment Tool is intended to encourage reflective thinking about the standard of a technical specialist. Other techniques for unpacking curriculum. Unpacking curriculum, standards, and competencies. The taxonomy for educational objectives were developed and published by Bloom and Cartwell, 1956. The Bloom taxonomy has become popular for teachers, especially in the developing instructional objectives. According to Bloom, educational objectives can categorize into three domains: the knowledge base, skill base, and effective. The first educational objectives is the cognitive. Cognitive involves the mental process of acquiring, understanding, applying, analyzing, synthesizing, and evaluating information. Learning objectives in this domain usually start with verbs such as define, explain, compare, solve, create, or critique. And that's the knowledge base. The next one is skill base, or the psychomotor. It involves the physical skills and abilities that require coordination, manipulation, and movement. Learning objectives in this domain usually start with verbs such as perform, demonstrate, practice, or use. And the last one is the effective. Effective need to be observable and or measurable, and using action verbs is a way to achieve this. Verbs such as identify, argue, or construct are more measurable than vague or passive verbs such as understand or beware of. And that's the three educational objectives. The first taxonomy is the cognitive or knowledge base domain. In 1956, there are the evaluation, synthesis, analysis, application, comprehension, and knowledge. In 2001, create, evaluate, analyze, apply, understand, and remember. Originally, Bloom taxonomy includes synthesis between analysis and evaluation. Under Sand and Cartwell 2001, revised it later to include creation as the highest category in the taxonomy.
So, okay, for the effective domains, Bloom's also categorized the learning objective into five categories. The first one is the internalization of values, organization, the valuing, responding to phenomena, and receiving phenomena. So we have here the five effective domain. So the first one is the internationalization of values. As a human or as teachers, we need to internationalization the values of our student or our the teachers and the organization. As we notice, every schools or students have the organizations, and of course the valuing. You need to value or give respect that every student or teachers have their perspective, and responding to phenomena, and last one is receiving phenomena. And we have here the psychomotor domain. Bloom's categorized skills-based learning competencies into 6 categories from the single to complex. So as you can see, the lower part is the perception. Second, the set, the guided response, mechanism, complex over response, adoption, and organization. And the teacher should first decide which of these 3 broad categories, the knowledge base, skills base, and the effective, the corresponding course goals belong to in order to determine the level of expertise required for each measurable student outcome. So as a teacher, as a future teacher, we have the freedom to decide or which the 3 base are broad categories. We are the knowledge base, the skill base, and the effective. Okay, to order to determine the level of expertise is required for each measurable student outcome. And the result is useful for teachers in understanding the nature of the content and in the selection of teaching strategies. Organizing measurable student outcome in this way will also allow teachers to select appropriate classroom assessment techniques for the courses. So as a teacher, result is one of the useful, okay, to understand the nature of the contents in the selection of teaching strategies. So as a teacher, as a professional teacher, you need to determine or understanding the result of our student to measure the student outcome in this way will also allow teachers to select appropriate classroom assessment techniques for our course.
Now let's proceed to Fink 2003. And in Fink 2003, he also presented an alternative taxonomy for categorizing different types of learning outcomes. And it is called as Fink Taxonomy of Significant Learning. So dito is kinakatawan niya ang isang systematic approach to course design that focusing on the content that help teachers to align learning goals for assessing student learning. And in Fink Taxonomy of Significant Learning, there are 6 types of significant learning, which are the learning how to learn. And dito is yung student ay paano siya natututo based sa kung ano yung naituturo sa kanila ng kanilang teachers. For example, values and fundamental knowledge. Dito naman ay yung student is kung ano yung naiintindihan at naalala niya based sa mga information and ideas na naituturo sa kanila. And application. Dito naman ay yung natutunan nila na yon is paano nila na i-apply, and ganun din po sa integration. Kung paano nila na-i-connect yung ideas and yung natutunan nila na iyon sa kanilang buhay. And next is human dimension. Dito naman is natututo nila about each other and sa kanilang sarili. Last is caring. Dito naman is kung paano nade-develop yung feelings, interests, and values na yon. So next is pink taxonomy. Dito naman ay i-encourage yung mga teachers upang bigyan ng more emphasis sa pagiging active learning that is related sa mga course content with real life problems. So yung taxonomy na ito ay nagbibigay ng isang modelo for course design na nakakatulong sa mga teachers to align learning goals for assessing student learning. For example ay kung paano natututo yung isang student and paano nila mai-apply, ganun din po kung paano nila mai-integrate yung mga natutunan nila na yun sa kanilang buhay. And taxonomy, dito naman ay is kung ano yung mga natutunan ng student at paano niya ito gamitin para ma-demonstrate yung mga skills, their values and attitudes and interests that this will determine which classroom assessment techniques are most appropriate of the course. And last is the teachers. Yung teachers is kailangan na meron siyang strong pedagogical content knowledge in order para mai-unpack yung mga curriculum standard and competencies para maging effectively and to help a student to well understand it. That's all and